Sarah Day. I am originally from Salt Lake City. I went to Hunter High School. After high school, I went up to Rexburg, Idaho, and I did a semester of college at BYU, Idaho, and I was studying theater education, and I really loved it up there. And then I took a semester off, and then I had the opportunity to go to a college in Wyoming called Western Wyoming Community College. It's in Rock Springs, Wyoming, about 3 hours away from Salt Lake. And there I got to study musical theater. So I danced and sang and acted every single day, and I learned how to be a good performer, and I learned more about the history of Broadway, the history of musicals, and just learned how to craft this art. I finished there with my associate's degree just this past December, and I decided to transfer to the University of Utah. So I auditioned for the program last semester, and I was accepted, and so I transferred here as a sophomore, and so I still have 2 more years after this semester here at the University of Utah. But it's also really nice because I already got my associate's degree at another school. So here at the University of Utah, I can really focus on my major and my craft, and I'm done with all of the other general classes, such as other sciences or math or other English classes. I can really focus on my major and the reason why I'm here. Well, a university, BYU Idaho is not a very big university like the University of Utah. So it was big in size, but like my class sizes were still fairly small, maybe like 20 or 30 people. But then at the community college that I was at in Wyoming, a lot of people from out of state go there for theater or sports or whatever. And something that's great about there is that it is way smaller. Like probably the amount of full-time students at that community college is probably the same amount as like my high school. So like your classes are like 15 to 20 people. By the end of the semester, my biology class, we probably had like 18 people in there, which means you get way more one-on-one time with a professor at a junior college. So that was a huge difference. And then even here at the University of Utah, even within my major, my classes are still really big. Like my dance class, there's like 22 of us in a really small room, which is great, and we still learn and we still get a lot of one-on-one time with our professor. But at the junior college, we had maybe 10 people in a dance class, 10 or 15, and so we got even more one-on-one time with a professor. And so I would just, that's a big difference for me, is just, is that. And then at the junior college, you kind of know everyone. You, like you go to class, you go to church, and you do all these other outside activities, and you live with all the same people. Like you all live in the dorms on campus, because there's not really any other housing, that's just what you do. And so you get to know pretty much everybody. But then at a bigger university, if you want to get to know more people, then you need to kind of branch out a little bit more and step out of your comfort zone, which is also good. It pushes you, like I said, with the transitions. So I would say those are kind of the biggest differences for me. I was excited about coming to Salt Lake City because there's a lot of performance opportunities around the valley, and there's a lot of different theaters that I can audition for and help out at. And then also I was excited about the education that they have to offer at the University of Utah. I know that the musical theater department, they have top-notch educators who have experience on Broadway in New York City, and in regional and Broadway tours. They know what they're doing, and they understand what the business is outside of the collegiate study, which is a great thing to work with. I love working with them, and I'm excited that I'm here. Ever since I was probably in 5th grade, I just kind of fell in love with performing. I've always loved being the center of attention my whole life, so that was easy. And then probably when I was in ninth grade, I decided that I wanted to be a high school drama teacher. And so I was going to school for that for a while at BYU, Idaho, and that was my plan. And then when I got the opportunity to go to Western Wyoming in Rock Springs, they didn't have a theater education program, but they had a musical theater program. So I thought, great, I can kind of work on my craft a little bit more, and then I can transfer to a university and continue with theater education while still having kind of this performance quality under my belt. And there I fell in love with dancing and with singing, and I already loved acting. And so wherever I went, I wanted to be able to continue in my craft. I didn't want to put away dancing. I didn't want to put away having voice lessons or other acting classes. And so I decided to stay in musical theater and to go on that track rather than a theater education track where I would more be learning how to teach the things that I wanted to be learning still. And so I still feel like I'm in a very much of a learning process, and I still want to be able to I want to learn all of this craft. I want to learn how to dance so that if I do teach it one day that I know what I'm doing, and I want to learn how my voice works and how most people's voices work, so that when it comes the time that if I have students, then I can kind of explain some things to them. But if I don't have all of that background knowledge, if I don't have all of that, then how am I supposed to teach it? So that's why I decided musical theater. Oh gosh, it's just so much fun. I love meeting new people, and I love getting to know myself and who I am, which sometimes is hard and different, but it's also a lot of fun, just to get to know who you are and if you're sassy or sweet or both or whatever. And then just you make so many friends. I've made lifelong friends in college that I just love them, and they have helped me so much, and they're still a part of my life, even though they've gotten married since, or they live somewhere else, or they moved away or whatever. They came at a pivotal time in my life that I needed them, and they changed my life. And so the best part about college for me is making new friends and just having people around you all the time. That's what I love about it. Transitions are really hard because they push you and they force you to grow, and growing always kind of hurts a little bit. Just like if you were training for a race or something, and every day you run another mile or whatever, it hurts a lot, but you know that you're pushing your body so you can be ready for a marathon. So I think transitions are probably the hardest thing for me, just because people leave, or I leave from other people, and so that's a little bit rough, but it always works out, and it always gets better. A lot of times the beginning of the semester is really hard, but by the end of the semester you're happy, and you can look back at all of the hard things, and you can say oh, I'm so glad all those things happened, because now it made me this way, or it changed this about me, or it led me to this opportunity. And so, yeah. Something that I wish I would have known in high school is that if I get a C or a D in a class, I probably am not going to get a scholarship to a university. I wish somebody would have pounded that into my head a little bit more, because I didn't really understand that, because that takes down your GPA, and if your GPA is down, then people will, you'll still get accepted into universities, but you don't get scholarships. Something else I wish I would have known is that college is expensive, and you usually end up paying for most of it. And so if you don't get scholarships, then you're either just like not going to go to college, or you're going to get into a lot of debt. And so I wish I would have understood the concept of scholarships better, and how to get them, and the importance of them, and why they're so great. So like, I wish I would have done more service projects. I wish I would have had a higher GPA, even though my GPA wasn't that bad, but I wish I would have had a higher GPA and been involved in more things. I was involved with like one thing, like super, obviously theater, and then like a couple other things, but I wish I would have been like more well-rounded, so I was like more impressive. And also I wish I would have studied harder and longer for the ACT test, just because all of those things, like, that's what makes you impressive to schools when you apply, and that's what makes them want to give you a scholarship. Yeah, scholarships. I wish I would have understood that. Don't stress out too much about college. You don't have to know what you want to do for the rest of your life to go to college. Something that's great about college is that you can take classes, and then your interests change, and you can change what you want to do, and do everything you can to not get into debt. Just find those scholarships and strive for them. Yeah. Bye. Thanks.